Well, I moved to Atlanta in 1963. I was 23 years old, had all of my hair and a few pounds lighter, to become the chair of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. And that was 63. In 1968, when I got married, we bought a little house on Pinehurst Drive. And it's the Venetian Hill section of the city. And it was very convenient. I love the area. It was easy to get to Greenbrier, grocery stores, and my wife worked at Atlanta University, and the only thing I had to do was to get downtown. And it was easy to get around, and I got to know the city very well, and I fell in love with the city. Well, if it hadn't been for Southwest Atlanta, I probably wouldn't be the person that I am today. I learned by meeting people in Southwest Atlanta, visiting the schools, getting to know ministers, religious leaders, business leaders, the different restaurants and little places. You know, Southwest Atlanta has clubs. I love music. And when I was very young, I tried to dance some. I still dance when I hear good music, because there's something about music. It was in the movement, it's in our churches, and it brings people together. Create this sense of family, create a great sense of solidarity. And I remember very well during the early 60s, the late 50s, when we would get arrested and go to jail, whether it was in Selma, in Jackson, Mississippi, or Nashville, Tennessee. Sometimes we would get out of jail and maybe only had a quarter or two, and we'd go to a little jukebox and listen to the music. And the music lifted us, brought us together as one, and it gave us a sense of hope, a sense of optimism. And I can never, ever forget that. I grew up in rural Alabama, 50 miles from Montgomery. And growing up there, I saw the signs that said white men, colored men, white women, colored women, white waiting, colored waiting. And I would ask my mother, my father, my grandparents, my great-grandparents, why? Why this? Why that? My mother would say, boy, you're too nosy. You want to know everything. But one day in 1955, I was 15 years old. I heard of Rosa Parks. I heard the words of Martin Luther King Jr. on the radio. The action of Rosa Parks, the words and leadership of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. inspired me. So in 1956, with a few of my brothers and sisters and cousins, we went down to the public library in the little town of Troy, Alabama. Wow. Trying to get library cards, trying to check out some books. And we were told by the librarian that the libraries are whites only and not for coloreds. I never went back to that library until July 5th, 1998, for a book signing of my first book, Walking with the Wind. And hundreds of blacks and white citizens showed up. At the end of the book signing, they gave me a library card. When President Barack Obama presented me with the Medal of Freedom, I teared up, and I tried to hold back and not cry. I admire President Barack Obama, and I still admire him today, because he's one of these unbelievable human beings. When we were first elected and attended the swearing in, then we had a little breakfast. I was invited to be part of the leadership. It wasn't a breakfast, it was a luncheon. And I had a little piece of paper and I said, Mr. President, will you sign this? And he wrote on it, it's because of you, John. And he gave me a hug. He teared up and I teared up again. And then when I saw him the second time at the same meal, similar meal, he said, it's still because of you, John. I said, well, thank you, Mr. President. He's an unbelievable human being. I wish he was still president today.